Hey, everybody, and welcome to Time Out with Kevin Gallagher. It's a pleasure to have you here. And let's see, we got a really interesting show on tap for you tonight. We're going to be talking about AI, and we're going to probably focus a lot on driverless cars, but we're going to kind of talk about some other things too. And I have Chris Taylor here from Don't Let Them Burn, who also has a show on the Truth Be Told Radio Network every Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday nights at 6. But when I bring Chris in, he can correct me if I got that wrong. But here's the deal. You can catch the show a number of different ways. You can catch us on the live stream of the Truth Be Told Radio Network, audio only, because it's radio, and that is 9 o'clock on Friday nights. You can catch us, let's see, on Comcast every Friday night, 8:30 p.m., every Monday morning at 11 a.m., and also on our second cable system, which is here in Connecticut Charter, and we're seen Wednesday nights at 9 p.m., and then we replay that show at 4 o'clock in the afternoon the following day on Thursday. You can also, I always forget to tell people this, but we're on Roku. So if you have a Roku device, do a search for TBTRN. That stands for Truth Be Told Radio Network, just the initials. And you'll not only get access in that Roku app for the Talk Network, but you'll get the Music Network and the Bible Reading Network. So you'll get all three networks in one right there in the app. You just bring up the menu, click on the one you want to listen to, and you're good. We have the Android app. We have Alexa. We have the Alexa speaker. We have Google speakers. Let's see, the Apple HomePod. We have Android TV. We have a million ways that you can engage with and listen and watch this program. We're on Rumble. We're on YouTube. We're on Kick. We're on, let's see, X. There's, like I said, a million different ways that you can go about doing this. Right now, we're going to bring in Chris Taylor and say hello. And Chris, hey, good to see you, buddy.
Yes.
And let people know a little bit about you. Don't let them burn, and anything I haven't added, and we'll take it from there.
Hi, everybody, and good to be here. Chris Taylor, Don't Let Them Burn. Been doing this around the podcast for about 11 years now, going on 12 in the fall. And I cover many topics. I talk about Hollywood, I talk about comic books and technology, symbolisms, the paranormal, and line it up with the Bible, see what the Bible says about some of those topics there. So I talk about like 12 different subjects, and it gets pretty deep. I try not to do too much surface level stuff because that's what I get everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So, and of course, the first priority is Jesus Christ and spreading the gospel, and the second priority is exposing darkness, and darkness comes in all sorts of shapes and forms, as a mature Christian should know. So that's and of course you can find me on YouTube and Rumble and X, Telegram, and so just reach out.
All the usual places. And so tell me, how did you first get interested in some of these subjects like AI? Because AI has been the subject in science fiction for years. I mean, all you have to do is go back to a 1968 film known as 2001: A Space Odyssey, and we have Hal, who was notorious in that movie, an AI, and it's so iconic that when you bring that up and you say Hal, everybody knows what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, the way I was brought up is one of the reasons why I got into all these subject matters. Sitting in front of TV, watching all sorts of programs, sci-fi, horror, you know, all the whole gamut of different subject matters. And back then, of course, I was a kid, so I didn't think a lot of this stuff was real. You know, Star Trek, Star Wars, or whatever. So it remained in a fantasy world until I got into high school and started to learn computers. And around 1998, I got on a home computer and started learning 3D graphics and stuff like that. And things started to become a little realer, you know. But then I got on the internet for the first time in 1999, and I'm like, okay, you can actually talk to somebody over from around the world. You can really do that. I know it sounds so crazy, right? That I didn't know that that was a thing. And so watching all these movies and stuff, and then getting on the internet and learning a whole slew of different things. I started to around 2007. I started looking at Bible prophecy and where the Bible came from and all these things, and it started to kind of all gel together. And around 2015, I started to look into drones and artificial intelligence, and boy, did it hit me hard that none of this is what we think it is. All the warnings you've seen in movies, not that they're all accurate, but some of it is transcribing the future to you, and some of it is just people playing around with the subject matter in fiction. And some portions of it is given to humanity by fallen angels. And I know that sounds weird, but it's true because people that have admitted it, you know?
Yeah.
So that last portion I told you from 2015 to now is where I really started to dig in. I used to want a Tesla car, the $100,000 one at the time, around 2010 or something like that. And I was all in. Oh, this is going to be cool. The future's here, you know? Then I found out the whole plan globally with the technological infrastructure. I'm like, oh no, oh no, this is a trap, you know? So
Yeah.
I'll just stop right there.
What's interesting too is when you kind of start putting it together and you realize, well, I wouldn't want to live in a 15-minute city like what they're proposing, and that, you'd be anywhere you need to be in 15 minutes or less. And then you look at, like, say, an electric car.
Mhm.
And it doesn't necessarily have to have AI in it or anything like that, but you look at the range and everything. If you have an electric car that does 500 miles, say, on a single charge, and you can only go 15 minutes either way, a half hour worth of driving, that more than covers what you're going to need in that type of society
Right.
where your travel and everything is so severely being limited.
You know, I was watching a documentary on a rapper, and they went way back to the 80s or something like that in what's called the projects. Think about
Yeah.
that. The projects, right? And the woman said something very interesting. And this is after I found out about the 15-minute cities. So I was already well educated on that part, right? And she said something interesting. She said, it's very convenient where we live. Everything is 15 minutes away. I said, whoa, say that again. you know,
Yeah.
I don't know. Wow, this is interesting, and a lot of places that are already developed, it's sort of like that. Unless you're in some rural environment where the town square is 20 minutes, sometimes 25 minutes away if you're located in the back of the valley.
You're out in the boons.
Yeah. So what people have to understand is, when you hear about a group of shadowy people that are orchestrating the world the way they want it to go, and you hear about the CFR and all these things, right? Most people don't know about that stuff, right? And when they hear about it, they're like, "No, I don't believe that." Da 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 da. Right? And they hear about Bible prophecy, and they're like, "How can one man take over the whole world?" And blah blah blah. Right? And you're seeing it all develop in front of our eyes at small
Yeah.
increments,
Yep.
moving faster now because the technology is doubling and the triple in some cases, right?
Well, yeah, you have something that they called Moore's Law, and that
Yeah,
Moore's Law was that every 18 months computing power would double, but Moore's Law is no longer true because computer processing power is doubling in a lot less time than that.
right, right. So, um, people have to understand okay. So most people don't care about technology and where it's going. They find a convenience avenue. Everything that is presented in front of you has to do with convenience. It's an emotional response.
Mhm.
Oh, I don't have to do this anymore because of this. I don't have to wash dishes anymore because the machine can do it. And there's a thing called obsolescence. And you're about to be obsolete.
Mhm.
Elon Musk pretty much said that all the robots that he's developing, and he didn't say it in a way where it's supposed to be scary, but it's scary. The robots will do everything that a human can do.
Mhm. Only better.
only better, right? And so, and then you look at Peter Thiel and some of these other technocrats, they're all saying
The
in
same thing in different
oh,
ways. Yeah.
different ways, but also when it comes to the human factor, people ask, so do you look for the advancement of humans? You know, birth rates going up and stuff, and they can't answer the question. Why? There's something off there when it
Yeah.
comes to depopulation. So we have to take a whole bunch of different subject matters and put them all together and see the bigger picture. Do they want to depopulate the planet? The answer is unequivocally yes, right?
Hmm.
Um, some people are playing the good cop, other people are playing the bad cop, but they try to keep it on the cover a little bit, right? Because if you haven't heard of drone swarms, those things are real if you've heard of them.
Yeah.
AI controlled, brain controlled TVs, brain controlled planes, or autonomous drones. Autonomous always has to do with AI,
Yep.
right?
It's really amazing too, because there's planes now, and they're in the fighter jet classification, where the pilot controls the plane by thinking about what he wants to do.
Right.
And the plane can react a lot faster that way by reading his thought patterns than physically moving the yoke. So, I mean, in some ways, we're already there.
Well, there there's someone that used to go to our church. He passed away now. He was in the Air Force around the 60s, 70s, somewhere. And he said there was a secret program where they were flying these aircrafts with their brains,
Hmm.
with their thoughts alone. So we might think that, oh, it's getting developed. Now it's old. This is old hat. This is way back then.
Hmm.
And the industrial complex military is 40, 50 years ahead of us.
Yeah, that's one thing that I came across is that depending on the industry, you're running anywhere from 30 to 300 years ahead of whatever garbage that they allow us to have now.
Yeah. And
So this they give us what they feel the general population can't hurt them with.
right. It, when we started to talk, FaceTime and your phone can give a signal to your car without being, hooked up.
Yeah.
We weren't amazed at that, were we? Why? We already had remote controls.
Hmm.
So it's not far off that, another device can communicate with another device, right? We had TVs, blah, blah, blah. But in, say, series for like Star Trek, where they went to rescue the whales and all that stuff,
Yes.
where they
Yes.
had the,
So
you
I
know,
think that's number 4.
the guy talked into the the communicator like it was a phone, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we already had all of these ideas conditioned us for the future, whether it's through fallen angels or human intuition, whatever, right? We already had these ideas given to us. Terminator, you know.
Well, on a side note, let me just do this. In that movie in Star Trek, which I believe is Star Trek 4,
Mhm.
the Scotty and the doctor, they go in to see this scientist, and they give him the formula for clear aluminum because they wanted to make these tanks inside the spaceship to put the whales in, and they needed something really strong.
Mhm.
Well, at the time when the movie was done, clear aluminum did not exist. It does now.
There you go. Yeah.
It
And-
it
yeah.
exists now.
Mhm.
And Gene Roddenberry, who was the creator of Star Trek, was a 33rd degree Mason and
Mhm.
had a bunch of buddies that worked in NASA and other places, and they were feeding him information about where things were headed. And that's why Star Trek in the 60s seemed to be so relevant because he knew where the technology was going. Now, with that, I just want to show a very quick, it's like 11 seconds. We're talking about driverless cars. The AI is driving the car, and this is really interesting because this is just a quick peek at what they can do. And as it turns out, in the last week or two, I came across because I wanted to do some research for what we're doing right now, and I was freaked out because Chris, I did not know and was not aware the level of technology driverless cars now are at. I thought that where they're at right now, we'd be at in another 10 years.
Mm.
And I sat there like Macaulay Culkin, just, oh wow, this is crazy because well, let me show you. It's better to just show you than to sit here and ramble on and on and on. Here it is. It's 11 seconds long. I'll get a quick comment, and I'd like to play it. Now, that's just the very simple driving straight down the road. There's nobody in the driver's seat. The car's just driving. But let's go to something a little bit more intense. Let's take a look at this next one. It's just under a minute.
I know for a fact right now that my Tesla has to move over. Here it goes. It decided to not turn there. That's very interesting. I have to move over. I'm using full self-driving supervised. Let's see if my Tesla can manage this. You can see the lane is highlighted in blue. It seems like that is indicating that it's looking for a spot, but this is rush hour traffic. Everybody is heading downtown. I'm using a 30-day trial of full self-driving supervised. All I have to do is monitor the road. Maybe up ahead, it'll find a spot. Here we go. Right there. Go, go. And we did it. Success. What do you think?
Pretty intense, and that's in a full rush hour traffic.
Yeah. In Vegas?
I'm not sure where that was.
No. I'm saying in Vegas.
Yeah.
On the Strip. We it started off with very little, about 2 years ago. Very little automated self-driving cars, right? Today, you could find them everywhere. The taxis, Waymo, whatever, right? They're everywhere now, and people have to understand that with your self-driving car or your hybrid or your newfangled electric vehicle, doesn't have to be driverless. All of it is data collection for the AI. Let me get people to understand a few things here. I'm just gonna go over what AGI is and
Please
what
do.
AI is, right? So AGI is artificial general intelligence. AI that can understand, learn, and adapt across many tasks at roughly human level, right? ASI is artificial superintelligence, AI that would surpass the best human in essentially every domain, from reasoning to creativity to problem solving. Simple distinction: AGI, human level general intelligence. ASI, beyond human intelligence.
Wow.
Today's AI is still generally considered narrow AI, very good at specific tasks, but not broadly human like. And why it matters: AGI is often viewed as the threshold where an AI can handle many real world tasks without being specially trained for each one. ASI goes further and is usually discussed as a speculative future stage with major benefits and major safety concerns. Examples: a chatbot that writes emails, summarizes documents, and helps code in closer to narrow AI is closer to narrow AI. And AGI would handle unfamiliar tasks across domains more like a person. And ASI would likely invent better strategies, theories, and solutions than humans can.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to get to understand where it's going because of the information, the data collection, whether it's biometrics, where you drive, the GPS. It's not being fed to a global source, but to corporations that will in turn end up ruling a lot of things. um and then later on, as the Bible predicts, a man is going to come and take that over, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in the Google ecosystem, everything connected to Google is feeding their AI.
Right.
And I don't know if you know if you're not tech, if you're not a techie and you're not computer literate, that might seem like crazy science fiction. But they admit it. It's on video. They
Hmm.
they built Google to make AI,
Yeah.
right? And then the government has probably 3, 4 different types of AI that we're not going to get into today. And so now you have the Tesla, the Grok.
Right.
There are a couple of different ones out there. They're not coming to my mind right now. But point being is, all of it is data collection. Whether it's just a chatbot or your email or your phone, depending on if it's Google or Apple, the two biggest ones on the planet. There are others, but those are the two biggest. They control the market. So you have to understand that AI itself, as technology goes, is all data collection to train. When you hear, what's it called again? You're training the robot. What's that called again? Um, Machine learning.
In machine learning.
Machine learning. That's what's going on. So we're not going to point a finger that it's just the global power system. It's a lot of these corporations, and some of them are involved with the globalists and whatnot. And as far as President Trump goes, people don't like to hear that he doesn't know everything. He can't know everything.
Yeah.
He's a man, you
Nobody
know.
knows everything.
But we on the outside see that what they have him doing is building a whole system that's not in favor of humanity. Okay, and these people admit it.
Hmm.
So he can't possibly know everything going on with the AI data centers and 6G and all. You give him too much credit. Too much credit.
You know, the thing is, I've seen a lot of these techie guys, these scientists. They sit there and they're like, "Oh, AI. Once it gets powerful enough, strong enough, it's going to go full Terminator on us. It's going to go full Skynet, and it's going to determine that we're the enemy. It's going to try to destroy us. But we got to build it." And I'm like, "Why? Why? Why are you building? It's like a mouse building its own mousetrap. Why? You're asking the mouse, why are you building that? Well, because I have to. Well, no, you don't.
Yeah, right, right. There's again, going back to the whole point of convenience. They tell you everything. Again, you don't have to do this because of this, right? Now you don't have to drive because of that.
Hmm.
But why would I want to give up my driving? When I want to fall asleep while this thing crashes into a ravine? That has happened, people. Look up the articles. That has happened. A lot of these cars crash and burst into flames because the batteries, that's how they, boom, just like that, you're burning up, right? And of course, I'm going to the extreme, sort of. It's not really extreme, it's real, okay? These systems can be hacked. Okay, let's
Like
talk about
anything mechanical, anything with programming can definitely be hacked.
yeah. Let's talk about geofencing that most people haven't heard of. So I'm watching a Sean Ryan clip yesterday, and then he puts a commercial in about a new family dog, and I'm like, oh, that's cute, boom, boom. Then he talks about the thing around the dog's neck, and then he talks about fencing the dog in so he can know the dog is safe any day of the week, anywhere he goes. He has a fence for the dog that's electronic. So when the dog gets too close to a border, he knows to turn back.
Yeah, he gets a little shock.
Yeah, it might not be a shock. I don't know what it is exactly, but I'm just using the shock to get through people's minds. And so that's supposedly new, right? First time I'm hearing about the dog thing. But with the car, most of your new cars have geofencing.
Really?
So when you talk about this 15-minute city, let's just say it was some draconian rule came over, name the country, doesn't have to be America. And they say now, okay, look, we have all this stuff set up. X, Y, and Z people can't go beyond this point. It's already fixed with a geofencing. So if they say you can't travel 10 miles, you cannot travel 10 miles. Your car will shut off. And if you don't
Or
believe
turn
me,
around.
or turn around, whatever the case is, right? If you don't believe me, look it up on YouTube. Listen, this is not secret anymore. This World Economic Forum and other people have talked about this forever, okay? And all through COVID and the rest. So when they say you will own nothing and be happy, you will own nothing and be happy if they get their way.
Mm-hmm.
If we allow it to happen.
Well, we can see that you'll own nothing, but that doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're going to be happy.
Right. Right. I mean, of course, they don't really mean happy. They mean more like sedated,
Yeah.
at home, playing video games, not getting nutrition, right? And this whole thing about the social credit score
Mm-hmm.
and the universal basic income, they mean you'll be happy on their form of welfare.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you do not toe the line, and this has to do with artificial intelligence, guys. If you don't toe the line, your credits go down,
Yep.
your social credits go down, and you'll be embarrassed to walk around because now you'll be that what they call in communism when they socially um social shaming. Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. And it'll be just like that. It's like that in China, by the way. If you
Yeah,
got,
it's like that now, and I always bring this up. There is a show called The Orville. Seth MacFarlane, who's
Mhm.
originally from Kent, Connecticut, up the road from where I am, and he had this show. He played the captain on it. It was like a parody, a very loving parody of Star Trek. But there was one episode that blew me away, and I watched it again recently. And what it was they stopped at this planet, and everybody was like us. They all, they all looked very human. But the real difference was that the entire planet was run on a social credit system. So when the crew came in, they started doing some wonky things that were like big no-nos on the planet. The first thing that happened was, hey, you don't have your badge on, and so they got these badges, and they had so many social credits, and then when one guy did something kind of stupid, the numbers went down until it got so bad that he was arrested, brought to trial, and nobody he would show up to get a coffee at the coffee shop, and people would clear out of his way. They'd see that like a shark going through a school of fish. They're all just moving out of the shark's way, and it was just so mind-blowing because it's like that could be any country, like you said, now or once they fully implement that in 10 or 20 years or less.
Mhm. And yeah, that's an important aspect there as far as the years. Guys, everything I'm telling you right now is way more than 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And before that, around 2008, I heard about the RFID stuff, and it's everywhere now. It's in your barcode, your letters on certain products. So do not think for 1 second that this is 50 years away, 20 years away, 30 years away. It's accelerating at a point where, okay, let me give you an instance, right? Tesla is the number one electric vehicle manufacturer in the United States, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it a few months ago that the Chinese electric vehicles coming over here surpassed Tesla for a little bit? No one's talking about that, right? And so you remember when Obama did Cash for Clunkers?
Yeah.
What do you think that was about?
That was a while ago. I remember he had a real scam going on with that.
He's not the orchestrator
Right,
of
right.
the technological takeover, but it's a part of the planet when it comes to all of this climate change, global warming, blah, blah, blah. So they can tax you to death, right? So how do you get rid of old vehicles? The same way you get rid of guns. Come
Mm-hmm.
on, trade them in. We'll give you cash for that. That way you don't force people to do it, right? Genius, right? And they did this in other countries too, when communist takeover came, instead of just going in and taking everything, they would tell people to trade it in. So you have to understand this is a long game program. When you have Agenda 21, which they didn't meet their mark, Agenda 2030 is the next mark, right? And we're very close to that. All of this building up of the geofencing, the electric cars, the artificial intelligence takeover of industry and corporation is not an accident, right? Some things happened because of AI. Let me give you an instance. NVIDIA.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why they took like 3 or 4 quantum leaps in the last 10 years is because of AI. AI helped them develop the graphics card and whatever else they have going on. The same thing with Tesla's XAI or something like that.
Yeah.
These are all being developed faster because of AI. Same thing with the automobile industry. If you go look for yourself, back in like 2016, I was watching all of this stuff. They were implementing AI in the automotive industry as far as like engineering. The human component isn't out, but it's getting hand from AI. So they're able to develop all these things very, very, very rapidly. And so again, this is a long game. And I know the argument is out there, AI is just a tool. Okay, fine. But was the atom bomb a tool?
Well, it's a tool if you use it that way.
Exactly. Weapons of mass destruction are weapons of mass destruction for a reason, right? That's why everybody doesn't have a bomb. But
right.
Part of the AI system is a tool. I use AI sometimes. Okay.
I use it all the time. When I do videos like this, I will use AI to construct the little thumbnail that will be presented, on Rumble or YouTube or whatever, so that it has something to do with whatever that show was about. And it's amazing because sometimes I'll be very particular about what I want it to represent, and other times I'll be very general, and it will really surprise me sometimes what it comes up with.
Right. And I've been using AI for, I don't know, 5 years now. But this is really simple AI. I'm a graphic designer, so it'll help me to enlarge a picture that's like this small into this big, upscale it, right? I don't use it to design except for making a certain sort of image or cutting out a background or something, right? So that's like really simple AI. This is not AI that will take over the world and or whatever. So as I read ASI and AGI, that's the more advanced stuff. That's some of it's already here.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch the development of artificial intelligence on X, you will see stuff that will blow your mind that you thought wasn't here. Okay.
And it's here, and that's the thing. Let me do this. Indulge me. I want to play 2 more videos that have to do with the self-driving cars. And I think it blew me away just because, like I said earlier, I didn't know it was this far along.
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't. Now here's one. This is I don't think I've played this clip yet. This is just under a minute. So let's check this out together, shall we?
My Tesla just got the latest full self-driving update, and they say it can drive anywhere by itself now. No hands on the steering wheel, just me looking at the road. All right, this is supervised full self-driving 12.5. Let's see if it lives up to the hype.
Nobody tell this cop that I'm not actually driving. So it's got 4 lanes of non-stop traffic. Wow. 4 lanes of non-stop traffic on a highway, and it did it. It needs to get in the left lane here. And we have a lineup of cars, so it needs to get behind those lineup of cars, and it did it perfectly. Well, that was freaking awesome. It's gonna need to pull the wheel all the way to the left, and oh my gosh, that was perfect. All right, it has to turn right at this roundabout. Perfect. And then immediately make a left. Nope. It thought she was gonna cross, so it stopped for her. That was good though. I mean, she could have crossed right there. And we're here.
That did really good, but that was only a quarter of the drive. Let me know if you want to see the rest.
And that gives you a good idea what the level that it's operating at now.
These updates are like your phone updates, your iOS updates, and again, I mean, look, I'm always going extreme just to get my
Mhm.
point across. What if somebody hacks in and gives you an update that's corrupted,
Yeah, exactly.
right? Oh, maybe it's just a mistake, a human mistake. And look, I know I sound like a luddite, right? I'm not afraid of technology, okay? But at the same time, there is a universal warning to go out that the movies have been showing you for a long time. Way back in the 20s when sci-fi writers started to get moving, and
Yeah.
some of them were all in cahoots with the government, and so they put out these stories, and a lot of them hated God. They were so-called atheists. One is H.G. Wells,
Yeah.
right? And so they were transcribing the future for you. Now, not everything came true because they're not prophets, right? But the system knew where it was going to go. And we don't have time for this today, but you guys have to understand there is a spiritual component. It's not just humans with altruistic ideas to help humanity move forward. There is a spiritual component. I've showed many times on my channel AI developers that are in contact with spirits. They're in
Mhm.
New Age and all this stuff, and so they do their meditation and get into their altered states, and they get this channeling saying that we want you to put this thing, build this AI, blah 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 blah, right? And so that we can come and inhabit it. I'm like, whoa! And so you think like, wait a minute, there's nothing new under the sun. So did this used to happen in the past? And the answer is yes, but it wasn't technologically driven, as at least the way we understand it. So there is a spiritual component. And if you look enough, not on a conspiracy website, if you look enough back in history, you'll find what I'm talking about. But
Yeah.
anyway,
It's all there and it's been building. I mean, you can go all the way back. I think it was the 1980s. You had Knight Rider.
yeah, yeah.
Right. So I mean, it's all there, and they've been thinking about this stuff for a long time. And who wouldn't want a car like Knight Riders? I mean, that's a pretty cool piece of machinery, and and you see the AI and everything built into that. But you see, the rub with this stuff is that it's always presented in the positive. It's always presented as something very good and benevolent and helpful and nutritious, and you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it doesn't cover the dark side. You were alluding to this earlier, where what if somebody, I mean, a interesting way to, if somebody had very nefarious means, they didn't like somebody, they knew they owned a self-driving car, they could put something in there that would make the car take off at a high rate of speed and then slam into a tree and kill the person
Right. Yeah.
because they didn't have any control over the car. Now, let me show you one more video. This is interesting. This is a Phoenix, Arizona cop pulling over a Waymo. Now you have Tesla and Waymo. Those are the two big, like Coke and Pepsi. These are the two big developers with these self-driving cars. And here's a cop that pulls over a self-driving car with nobody driving the car. So it sounds kind of interesting, but these are the issues. And you'll see in the report that the cops are already being trained on how to deal with these types of cars. It's really interesting. This is the longest video I'm going to show. It's about a little over 2.5 minutes, but very thought provoking. So here we go.
31 Adam for as well?
No, can you show me out at 7th Ave in Osborne? I got a unmanned vehicle that was kind of taken off from me. It's a Waymo car.
It's not every day you see a Phoenix police officer pulling over a driverless car.
Hi!
But that's what happened June 19th after the officer observed a Waymo going haywire in traffic.
I couldn't help but come over, just out of morbid curiosity.
Yeah.
I thought maybe there's a passenger or something.
No, like, the construction here?
Yeah.
It was eastbound in the westbound lanes.
Oh!
Which is real bad. Yeah. And then, so I light it up, and then it takes off through the intersection.
While most Waymo cars can be seen throughout the city driving safely and behaving civilly, erratic driving is not completely out of the question for the artificial intelligence.
It was making a right onto Washington. Almost hit me. I had to swerve into the fast lane.
Phil Briggs says Tuesday he nearly got sideswiped by a Waymo on a mission with no regard for the car surrounding it.
My son saw an accident. We've seen him dead in the water in the middle of the intersection. So it's just, I don't see any good from it at all.
I reached out to Waymo to find out more about the potential for errors in their cars. Waymo sent me a statement, and they said Waymos are much better drivers than humans and 3.5 times more likely to avoid injury-causing crashes.
So your car here drove into oncoming lanes of traffic.
In the case last month, Waymo says the construction signage on 7th and Osborne was inconsistent, and because the officer blocked the car, it had to impede oncoming traffic. But the whole ordeal only lasted 1 minute.
If you or I are driving like that and we get pulled over, we get a ticket. So somebody needs to be held accountable.
Phoenix police say they are able to cite Waymo, but it's not something they see or do often. Officers, though, are provided training to deal with robot-operated cars. Waymo cars are also able to detect an emergency vehicle and program to safely pull over on the side of the road.
Waymo also makes it very easy for law enforcement to simply press the help button on the inside of the car and get connected immediately to a 24/7 service member that will be able to talk them through moving the vehicle off the road, finding the insurance information, or whatever information that the officer needs for their investigation.
All right, officer. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No problem. Good luck.
The trouble, okay?
Yeah, don't worry about it. Take care. Yep.
Ashley Rodriguez, Fox 10 News.
My Tesla just got the latest full self-driving update, and they say it can drive any.
I know for.
There we go. And that's just kind of crazy, but these are issues that are being dealt with. That was in 2025 or 24, actually. And so that's a year and a half ago. And these are issues they're already dealing with. So that's not the future. That's already here with us.
Right. They can do everything better than humans.
Yeah. But I like what you said earlier in the program. You were like, which humans?
Yeah, that's
because we just had the Indy 500 not too long, a couple of days ago. I'm not qualified. I'm not speaking for you, but I'm sure you're not going to be able to just jump in an Indy car and go 500 miles on a 2.5 mile track,
right,
going 200 to 240 miles an hour. That's not taking the casual drive to the store to get your groceries and come home. You're driving 5 hours, and even if you're driving to grandma's house to go visit grandma, you're tired after that 5-hour drive. Imagine what an athlete like a race car driver feels like after a race like that. And these are top level drivers. So when they make that statement, which I liked, they kind of like, 3 times less likely to, what drivers are we talking about? The 16-year-old kid who just got their license, or the guy who's been driving his car for 20 years?
Yeah. Back in, before the 2024, 5,
yeah,
the election, everybody was worried about the replacement thing, illegals coming in, replacing us through birth rates and whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But there's a bigger replacement that you need to worry about, because humanity, through transhumanism and all that, we're not going to totally get into that, and technology will be replaced. Now, I know it sounds extreme, but this one isn't extreme, right? Not all of the replacement in the corporations will work. It has backfired in many ways in corporations, okay, because they thought we were at the pinnacle now, and we're not get rid of humans, right? Except for themselves, of course. And so they had to rehire people. And you have to understand, this thing is going to be ubiquitous in every part of your life if you let it. Everywhere. And I'm not exaggerating. We're talking about the medical industry. You name it. I can go on and on about different industries. And even if you're not wealthy or well off, it's still going to affect you because you're going to rely on it to try to make you wealthy, right? And these techies are all about we're gonna surpass X, Y, and Z, and humanity's gonna thrive, and we're gonna go into outer space, and here comes your future, right? So let me backtrack a little bit. So around 2021, there was a convention here, and a friend sent it to me because they're connected to Microsoft and whatever, right? And they were showcasing AI controlled cars.
Yeah. 2021.
21. Okay. And so we have no idea how much technology is in the newer cars as far as cops are concerned. They know we're not supposed to know that stuff in a sense, but they're getting more integrated into the artificial intelligence, and some of them are driverless, by the way. And so now we skip ahead, and I think it was 2025 where a company that is invested in Tesla cop cars, testing them out here, the Cybertrucks, and as of now, Las Vegas is the most technologically advanced police departments in the world as of now. I don't know if it's surpassed that now, and other places are adopting these Tesla trucks. But here's the key: it's not just about if the artificial intelligence and whatnot. They said in the video that these trucks are so fast you can't outrun them because they're electric. They don't have to. They just you can't outrun them. So that's something to consider when you're in the big cities. Something to consider. If you get pulled over and you want to run. So sorry, my friend, it's not going to happen, especially if you did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Those things can happen. So just consider that, most people are not paying attention, and it's not their fault necessarily, because most of the stuff we've talked about for the last 47 minutes, most people don't know.
Right.
And to be frank, a lot of people don't care. And if you have a biblical mindset towards eschatology and future things, you'll get what's going on. If you're looking into geopolitics, into transhumanism, into the global structure of the world, which is partially dismantled by what Donald Trump is doing, and that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
But it's not stopping necessarily, the genetic movement, the eugenics, whether it's with humanity or with bugs like the ticks that are falling out of everywhere. All those things combined, they're what's the term when everything kind of convergence?
Yeah, convergence.
Yeah. It's a big convergence. So it's not that evil is partially pushed back, but it's still moving, advancing, because why don't people want you to have freedom? Because they want power over you.
They want control.
Yeah. Control, power, control the food, we've never seen control like this ever in the history of humanity. There were small pockets of it in little countries or whatever, or say the Roman Empire and whatever they did, but not like this. Control the food, control the energy, control the water. On and on we can go. That's Satan. That is Satan. Satanic. God built the world, and even in a fallen world, we are to be free. Free. Not free to run into your neighbor's yard or steal and all the things that a fallen world does, but to be free, to enjoy and worship God in freedom, and not Buddha, not Muhammad, none of these Allah, whatever. We're talking about the God of the Bible, to worship Him and be free in all that we do as long as we keep Him first, right? And the thing is that as humanity goes on, the bad people, in the sense of the people that commit crimes and do the worst things, they make it worse for people that are free,
Yeah.
because now we have to develop higher walls, surveillance everywhere, cameras everywhere, because of these type of people. So Satan uses the children of disobedience to keep building his system.
Yeah.
And so we have to continually be aware of what the Bible says, and then look at what is going on in the world. Because again, AI is not some new idea. It's artificial intelligence, and it ain't that intelligent. If you didn't notice.
Yeah. It can do some dumb things, but I'll tell you, in my closing credits that I have for this show, a while back, I updated them and I brought in the image of the super booster being landed remotely and being caught. And you'll see that at the end of the program. And what I point out to people is that because this is the super booster, it's the height of a 20-story building. Now, that the AI that must be involved in guiding this thing from the edges of space down, falling at thousands of miles an hour, being slowed down to where it's moving at about 2 or 3 miles an hour and just being caught, just clunk, and the two big arms come and catch it. That's just, to me, one of the most mind-blowing things I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to sit here and think about, what is the level of AI? Who sat there and was able to program that to make that work? Like, it's beyond me, dude. It's totally beyond me.
Now that you brought that up, what's interesting is we are technologically behind everything from the flood and post-flood. We're technologically behind where humanity should be if we were following God.
Yeah.
We don't know how to build pyramids anymore. And I'm not saying pyramids is a part of God's plan. My point is, He destroyed the pre-flood world. And when you look around the world, you see all sorts of pyramids underwater.
Yep.
Water, just being excavated, whatever, all around the world. Civilizations that have been destroyed post-flood, that used to do a lot of human sacrifice or whatever, they had their ziggurats, their pyramids. When we say pyramid, people usually think Egypt, right?
Yeah.
They're all different forms of pyramids around the world. So God judged the world, and then we went through pretty much two curses: the fall of man, and then the judgment of God on the pre-flood world.
Yeah.
So we're coming close to another judgment, because the world to come, the millennium kingdom, then eternity, is going to be drastically different.
Mm-hmm.
Drastically different.
Oh yeah.
And we sometimes I get these, some people call it downloads, whatever, and you kind of realize how the world is structured. We haven't explored most of the world. But the other side promises that all of these things are going to be so great, and we're going to have the energy this and the clean air that. I mean, the God built the world where it could clean itself.
Mm-hmm.
We take care of, we're stewards to what He's given us. We don't want to look past that. But humanism is one of the movements most people don't know about, that says that mankind can do it on their own,
mm-hmm.
through technology, through abortions, through depopulation. Hold on a second.
That's the dog.
Yeah. So let me turn him down a little bit there.
Mhm.
You hear me still?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. So
We got about 4 minutes.
okay. So it's just a thing where we have to keep our eye on Jesus because what's coming is glorious.
Hmm.
We can't imagine it. We're talking about new new types of bodies for the believers, right? No more sin, ruling with Christ, the bema seat, the judgment of the believers, not for hell but for our works, and so many good things that God promises. The restoration of Israel to Jesus in the relationship to God, the relationship, all of that after the final judgment. We have to understand that this is not an allegory. This is literal outpouring of God's judgment on the world. And artificial intelligence and certain types of technology are leading us to the end of the church age and the judgment of God.
Yeah.
It has to be continually said because the world can easily lull Christians into a false sense of hope.
Hmm.
It happens all the time, especially when you're continually working a 9 to 5. You have a family to take care of. Not that those are bad things, but a 9 to 5 can be a distraction, right? People are busy, and so when that thing comes upon them, they're like, "How did this happen?"
Yeah, exactly.
You weren't paying.
Catches them unaware.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to leave people with that thought that Jesus is coming back soon, and these
Hmm.
are signs of his soon return.
And Chris, let me do this. How can people find out more about what you're doing? Website, contact info, etc.
Don't let them burn.com is the main hub. But I broadcast a lot on YouTube and Rumble. And if you want to communicate, it's easy to communicate with me on those platforms and on Telegram. On X, very easy to communicate. I don't run away, I'm easy to find. And so if you have questions, if you want to go back in the archives, a lot of things segmented we talked about for the last 11 years.
Yeah.
So again, it's not just technology. We talk about things going on in the movies and we break them down so you can have
Hmm.
an appreciation.
Which is absolutely huge.
Yes. And again, the superhero stuff, we talk about that. We tell you what's going on. It's all relative. It might seem irrelevant based on the things you like. Some people just don't like Star Wars or superheroes and they can care less. But it all congeals into one theme. We live in a fallen
Absolutely.
world. We live in a
Yeah.
fallen.
Hey, Chris, thank you very much for joining me here today. And folks, I'm Kevin Gallagher, and thank you for watching. We're going to be back again next week. If you're watching on Comcast, that's going to be Friday night, 8:30 p.m., Monday morning at 11 a.m. on Charter. That is Wednesday nights at 9, the next day on Thursday at 4 p.m. And you can catch us on Roku. Let's see, Roku, Amazon Fire Sticks, Amazon smart speakers. You name it, there's a bunch of ways. We have a downloadable app for your Android phone. We're on a bunch of different ways. Just go to truthbetoldnetwork.org and you can find all the information there about how to interact with this program and also Chris's show, which appears here, I believe, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Hey, I'm Kevin Gallagher, and I thank you so much for joining us here on the program today. Please tune in again next week to see what it is we'll be talking about. Until then, have a great night and God bless.